Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello, and welcome to Altered Geek Unleashed. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week is...
DFU and Mike.
Yo.
Yo. How are you?
I think I'd rather hear your story first.
Well, I didn't ask what you've been doing. I just asked, how are you?
Well, if it's in terms of school, it's boring.
Yeah, we heard all about that last week.
It's the same story this week. Only difference is the teacher was here both days.
Oh, jeez. So,
and for those inquiring on the comment section,
mm-hmm.
yes, it is lazy teaching. Documentaries and videos from YouTube do not constitute a class.
Well, like you were saying, and
I don't mind the lecture.
Yeah.
And it should be it should be an hour and a half class maximum, and it should be once a week, or it should be online. There's no way that this should be a 3-hour class.
Well, it was like you were saying. The way I understood you telling the story was you said that the teacher just has you watch the documentary in class. He's not like saying like, and I know because I've only been to college a few times, so I'm using my high school experience here. In high school, in history class, when we would watch something like, say, The Untouchables, or say, because during our history class we were learning about Prohibition at the time. So the teacher would let us watch like the first, 2 or 3 scenes of The Untouchables.
Mm-hmm.
He would stop it and then ask us, you know what I mean? It's like start, stop, ask question kind of thing. It sounds like your teachers are just having you just watch the stuff and take notes.
He doesn't even have us take notes. It's just a watch.
Oh.
Like I can't even describe it. It's annoying. I would much rather be anywhere else. I would rather go back to work than be sitting there paying attention to these stupid, pointless videos that have nothing. I mean, they have stuff to do with it, but they're just. There's no reason that we're having to sit there and watch these stupid videos in class.
Right.
Like, I understand the importance of them, but and I was explaining this to my wife earlier about in this day and age, attention spans are not what they used to be.
Uh-uh.
You can't watch a 1970s or 1980s documentary and sit through the whole thing because they're ungodly long. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're sitting through one of these YouTube things that are thrown together and one of these 10, 15-minute videos that explain everything you need to know about the subject and get to the point, not la-di-da, la-di-da, I hear this important person talk about it, this important person talk about it. They just get to the point.
Yeah. And
that's, I want that, because, we're all about instant gratification, and this will come back later in the show, but on
more ways than one.
Yeah. Yeah, you have no idea. But, well, you do, but they don't. But it's, I don't, I'll be happy when I get back to the hands-on classes like I had last semester. Because honestly, I had more fun doing nothing for the entire semester and then, and watching stupid videos while editing a short film and shooting a short film than I have sitting here paying attention to this garbage. Which I'm sure if, I understand the historical purposes of it, but for me, the history of the audio recording and the cassette and everything else,
well, for you
I learned it already.
Yeah, well,
we did it on a podcast.
Well, for you need an actual teaching lesson.
I need hands-on.
Yeah,
I comprehend nothing from those stupid books and videos. I have to actually be doing something.
Right, but what I'm saying is you also seems to me, this is just my own personal opinion, I think I've known you long enough, but it seems to me that you need the teaching style of what I was just saying. The teacher lets you watch 5-10 minutes of something and then kind of does a instant pop quiz and discussion kind of thing. And you need that kind of teaching style. You don't need someone to just leave you alone for an hour and a half and say whatever. For me, last week, I believe it was last week, I had, yeah, before I had to go see About a Girl last week.
Yeah, you mean before Dad made fun of you?
Yeah.
And then I did some choice editing skills that made it sound so much worse than it actually was.
Yeah, and thankfully the unedited version will never see the light of day.
Well, the unedited version. Oh, you mean the one that
the explicit version.
You mean that one's on Twig. That's still my edited version compared to the original context that was like several minutes longer.
Yeah.
That one will never see the light of day. That's deleted.
Yeah. So in episode 109 last week, I had mentioned that I had finally reconnected with my dad, which I hadn't done. I hadn't seen him since 2001. I hadn't seen him since 2001. I hadn't actually talked to him on the phone since 2006. And I said last week with my mom passing, I'm like, well, he's the only parent I have left. I might as well try to, reconnect and whatever else. So he came over, and I think I told this part of the story last week. He came over and helped me put this shelf back together, and we talked for 2-3 hours, caught up, and told him all about all the family deaths on mom's side. And like my Aunt Rose had passed away in 2003, and obviously my grandfather had passed away, and my grandmother passed away, and all that stuff and everything else. Told him about my cousins, Rachel and her husband having 4 kids, and Heather and her husband having 3 kids now, and just catching up and, like I said, reconnecting. So I was then telling him different things about the network and what we cover and what we do and all that stuff. Somehow, we got to talking about my Uncle Keith or one of my other uncles and one of their friends or something. I don't know. And it ended up being about superheroes. So I guess technically this could be your Superheroes Are Us segment this week, because...
So with that, we should probably transition to this.
No, wait. No, because I have to set this up a bit. My dad told me that my Uncle Keith and one of my other... I forget it. I think it's Uncle Keith. I don't know. 2 of my uncles and my dad. So it's 3 men in my family, okay? One has a full-on Superman suit. The other has a full-on Batman suit. And my dad's like, well, who can I be?
Are you kidding me?
No, I am not kidding.
That is awesome.
I am not kidding. One has a full-on real Superman costume that they made, and the other one has a Batman costume. And my dad's like, well, I want to be somebody. Who can I be? And
he said this to you?
No, he said this to them, and then they replied, oh, well, you can be Aquaman. And he just kind of looked at them like, don't even, just wait. He just kind of looked at them like, wait, what? Aquaman? And then after he told me that story, it was earlier, that was last week, because it was Thursday when he came over here. It was actually Thursday afternoon, I think. Or it might have been, I don't know, whatever the hell it was. So he's telling me this story, and like after he leaves, like the whole night, I didn't think about it. The next morning, I'm like, oh my God, Aquaman runs in my family. And I thought of the very first time over on This Week in Geek when they started calling me Aquaman, which you'll hear now.
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to This Week in Geeks Nerd News Network, and we are not alone in this intrepid quest. We are joined with
David Double D Dennis
and Mike TFG1 Blanchard. Hello.
Also known as Aquaman.
No,
I'm gonna keep this a running plot thread.
No, it's
all
not
right.
a running plot thread.
All right. So anyway, we are joined with the Master of Fish himself.
So that took me back to, I think that was, I'll actually have to get the link from Facebook, because originally what happened was, as soon as I thought of this, I'm like, Minions, my Minions, find me the first time that they called me Aquaman on This Week in Geeks Nerd News Network. And then no one had, after like, usually if no one replies to something that I've posted like within 5 minutes, I'll tag somebody and like, you need to get on this. So I tagged our buddy Dustin Vancour. And I'm like, dude, go forth and find, and he found it for me, and I'm like, wow, I think this is like, this like had to be like 5 years ago at least, 2010, 2009, somewhere around there. It might have been 2011. I'll have to look at it and get you the link later. But so the story goes that way back when they started calling me Aquaman and all this stuff and everything else. So as my dad's here and we're talking about this, I just get this overwhelming sense, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously? You know, and he was talking about, I don't mind doing a Halloween costume, but the guy really does, he actually started looking for like a Halloween costume version for Aquaman, and he's like, the guy really has nothing. It's an orange shirt with green pants and a A for a logo, and he started saying stuff about like, oh, well, I guess I could, use my telepathy powers of fish, get in my belly and all this and all that and everything else. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I told him, I said, yeah, there's the old Super Friends version. There have been other versions of Aquaman. A really cool version was done in Justice League in the DC animated
where he's got the trident and then he's got the spear attached to his hand.
Right, because they cut his hand off, and he had to have the hook, the hook hand and all that, and he's got long hair and everything else. And I just found it really hilarious that something that Mike Dodd started nearly 5-6 years ago comes back to bite me in the ass, and that apparently it runs in the family because of the other thing my dad mentioned was like, oh, I saw that episode of The Big Bang Theory where they're all dressed. I was like, yeah, and Raj, yeah, he was in this really weird-looking Aquaman seahorse costume. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing. My dad's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So that's the funny story for the week. Apparently, I
should we get into your controversial issues on social media that came back to bite you 2 days after?
Yeah, I apparently. So, I'll freely admit this. I don't care when I did have cable television, because I like, escaping my own life and seeing how screwed up other people's lives are. So I have been watching the Kardashians and some of their spin-offs because, let's face it, that's America's most screwed up family at this point. Someone said somewhere, I saw a hashtag or I saw something on either Twitter or Facebook about how apparently Khloe Kardashian and Amy Schumer are going to start this new feud or this new war because of something Amy Schumer said in her SNL monologue. I wanted to see what she said about the Kardashians. I thought she was going to go on a 5-minute tirade about Khloe Kardashian and whatever else. The Kardashians bit is less than a minute and a half, or less than that even. And then she goes into her experience of giving her niece a bath. And she goes into specifics. On Saturday Night Live, no, don't get me wrong, I get it. Saturday Night Live has always, pushed the envelope and everything else, and they've had some really raunchy gigs on there. But, like, this kind of stuff that she's talking about, and I know it's just washing a baby's private parts. That's as dirty as I'll get with it. I won't get as, you can put the clip in the show notes if you want to, but...
Nah, I'm not.
She's
following up my show with
that. Yeah, I know. She's going into super detail of how awkward it is to be doing this to her niece, her baby niece. And I just like, how do people find her funny? And I put on Facebook, that exact statement. Let me actually grab it here. So I just watched an SNL monologue by Amy Schumer. How the hell do people find her, in all caps, her, funny? Ugh. And then it's got 15 or 16 other replies. At one point, someone asks me, well, who do I find funny? So I go and list off people like Jeff Dunham, Bill Engvall, Larry the Cable Guy, Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Cosby, that kind of thing. Someone else who thankfully did not call me out on Facebook, I will not give this person's name, pointed out to me on Skype that apparently I find a suspected accused serial rapist and a racist funny. And
yeah, we all know who that is.
Okay, so...
But you can't judge the person by the TV show.
But see, here's the thing, and I'll say this: who the person pointed out to me, and who they are talking about is obviously Bill Cosby. Everybody knows about those accusations, and the quote unquote racist. They were referring to Jeff Dunham. Okay.
Yeah, but they
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, how's he? I mean, yeah, they kicked his show off. Comedy Central for having the black dummy, that he had, but
yeah, Sweet Daddy.
You get guys like Tosh.0 and those kind of guys, and they get away with it left and right. I don't
see. I only really watch Dunham's comedy specials that he eventually puts, uncensored versions that he puts out on DVD.
Yeah, but he makes fun of
everybody,
old white people too. Yeah. So I mean.
Well, whatever. It's either here or there, But it's just
one. It makes fun of everybody. I mean, that's part of being a comedian. You should be able to take it. It's not I don't know.
So this post that elicited all these comments. One of them was my friend Jennifer Bragg, who was on a couple episodes of Remote Control with me, our TV podcast that I need to get back to doing. I asked her. I said, so. You can because of these accusations against Bill Cosby, you can no longer watch The Cosby Show or anything he's ever done. She said no, because it colored, what he's done, in her opinion, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm not, I have it pulled up here, so let me see what she said. Let's see. I asked her, so you are saying because of real life events that takes away from the fictionalized stuff he created, okay, and she says, yes, unfortunately I am. I'm not saying he wasn't funny, he was hysterical. But in my opinion, his incredibly numerous and heinous crimes means we should not celebrate him as an artist anymore. Is that sad? Absolutely, but there's no reason why all the network there's a reason why all the networks stopped showing The Cosby Show. When someone has assaulted other people, particularly in a sexual manner, and refused to take responsibility for it, they don't deserve any accolades personally or professionally. They deserve to be shunned and punished, is what she says. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say the same token, though, they... the old Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
They took those off the air. They don't even show them anymore. Same thing with, the old Tom and Jerry's and stuff like that. You can't watch any of those old cartoons because... they're considered,
You can't watch some of them. They do still. Boomerang still does run Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, they run. Well, I mean, but the old classic Looney Tunes, they don't run any of those because they say that they're
no, they're
overtly racist.
Some of them they don't run the racist ones, but they run.
Well, in the other, I mean, just kind of finishing the point there is, they won't show them. Because of those reasons, when yes, they aren't acceptable now, nor should they have ever been acceptable. However, it's a product of its time. That little disclaimer they throw on them now when they are playing them, or allowed to play them. But I mean, it's again.
But see, for me,
and to me, his show was clean. So I don't think in that regard it should be shunned. I think that
the
modern him should be.
Yeah, well, obviously, I had in one of my replies I said something to. Here's the way I view media, Hollywood, whatever the hell you want to call California and the entertainment industry. Okay, you take Bill Cosby. He played a character by the name of Cliff Huxtable. Cliff Huxtable was married to Claire Huxtable. They had 5 children. They had grandchildren, whatever. I look at the character of Cliff Huxtable, and I can still enjoy Cosby's work in that role. Watching The Cosby Show as a kid gave me a lot of my life lessons. I remember that one of the Halloween episodes they did, that, they're like, okay, Rudy, here's a purple bag for houses you do know and a red bag for houses you don't know. That Halloween, I had a purple and a red bag for the same The Cosby Show taught me a lot of lessons. Another example I used was the episode where Rudy's friend Peter was scared to death of the dentist. Well, I still loathe going to the dentist like everybody else in America. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore like I was as a kid before I saw that episode. But my point here is, for me personally, I mean, yeah, I find it horrific that Cosby has done all this stuff. But at the same time, when I look at I'll give another example other than Cosby. Take Ozzy Osbourne. He gave us a million great albums, a lot of great songs between his solo career and Black Sabbath. Are we going to then shun him for smoking weed and drinking alcohol and blah, 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 and all the shit that rock stars do? No. Because for me, I just want a great album. That's the best way I can explain it, is I can differentiate between the fictional character and the real person. So, but that's just me.
Yeah. So with that being said,
yes,
and that giant can of worms open,
I'm sure I'll get it in the comments this week.
Well, I'm sure we both might, but you more than I. To which, I'm sorry, man.
Pushing the envelope. Nothing new around here.
Yep. I like pushing envelopes. I like sending them returning to sender. So, I guess getting into a little bit of the stuff that I've been doing over the past week besides the school stuff.
Okay.
I've got my short film edited. I'm just waiting on the teacher to free up time to look it over.
Okay.
I mean, he's having a lot of crap going on in his life in the last 3 weeks, so I mean, I get it. It's annoying to me because
you want it to get done and over with.
Well, I want it to get done, and then it's got to be scored next month, and then the film festival's in December. I want the damn thing done.
Yeah.
So as soon as they score it, I got to re-edit it back into the film. So this is like a never-ending process for me right now. I did this last semester. I should be done.
Filmmaking is a long and arduous journey, my friend.
I know. I mean, and I'm fine with it because, I want to see the finished product. I want to see it. I haven't actually watched it since I've done all the edits to it. Because I've been nitpicking and tweaking. And then I'm waiting for the new soundtrack because, quite frankly, the one we have isn't very good. So I'm not looking forward to that aspect of it. But I mean, I'm looking forward to the film festival because I want to see how everybody's films came out. One of them in particular, I really don't care because they were the ones that were behind the entire time, but I'm still curious to see what came out of it. Because as last I knew, they were still shooting after the semester was over. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see it, and I don't mind doing the work. I was fine with that. That's why I signed up to be the editor. But I'm ready for it to be done and move on to something else. And then on the same token, I've been working on Mary's, my wife's website. Which I'm still in progress of working on. She's going to be starting her own podcast.
Cool.
And it's going to be about health and fitness and various things like that. And I'm going to set it up in such a way that, of course, it's going to take suggestions, Q&A, and that kind of stuff. And also she's going to do top fives and some other things. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Should have had one of the energy drinks she sells, but that's part of it too. It's healthier alternatives to your Monsters and stuff like that too. She's got stuff that she sells that's a part of that. So, anyways, I set up this website and I was like, well, you want to have kind of both sides of the coin there. You don't want to just be sales and you don't want to just be this. So, I mean, if you combine it, you do it in such a way it's interesting. It should support itself. And so she's going to have stuff like recipes and different health type things and little articles and things that she finds and whatever. So, I mean, and the podcast probably won't really be that long, but it'll be, something that'll be on her site edited.
Yeah.
As well as I'm going to submit it to iTunes and all that stuff afterward. But I'm also going to feature it as a segment in the show.
Right.
Here.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm curious to hear what everybody has to think about that, or if they're interested in something like that. But I'm going to do a little bit of... And mind you, if they're longer, like 30 minutes or something, I'm not going to put the whole episode. I'm probably going to put, like a 5-10 minute thing in the episode.
Yeah.
Unless I'm short topics that week. But...
I don't know.
I've
been really hitting the controversy train, so I'm sure I can, I can say something really horrid this coming week to have other stuff we can talk about.
Oh, don't worry. I've got plenty of controversial stuff this week. So
yeah, I know.
Besides the news, I mean, there's some news stuff, but it's more so fun news. It's not like, oh, we're reporting on this, and yeah. So, anyways, so look for that in the near future. I have to script it out and figure out what we're doing for the first one and how it's going to go. But her site is coming along. It is fitreadygo.com.
Cool.
Making sure I typed it in right or saying it right because I'm incoherent partially. Yeah, that's what it is. So anyways, I got most of the site built. I got to get the Q&A section up, and then I got to get a couple other things done to it. But for the most part, it is set up.
Cool.
So it's really neat. It's kind of the first design I've done of this style. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really... It's different for me. Plus, the logo is totally different than anything I've done before. It's a lot more simple. It's like 3 colors, but like the design of it's more simple. So like I'm really liking it. So... shortly after doing that, the creative buzz was working, and I redid the GCRN logo again.
Yep.
And it's just the website. Like, I didn't redo like the logo itself. It's still the GCRN with the globe and all that.
Yeah,
you just did
the accents too.
And I've changed the background picture.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @AlteredGeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show. But I did do the top 100 television shows countdown banner at the top.
Yep.
And we will have, once that gets started, the top 100 collaborators will be on the page as well. We do have a lot of collaborators. So long as they send their lists. But we'll be doing one less episode of the actual podcast this time.
Yep.
6 episodes instead of 7. We'll still have the intro. We're going to do the first 20. We're going to do them 25 number segments.
Yep.
Each episode, and then do the finale. And I'm rather proud of this art because I reverse engineered it from the top 100 video game countdown, which just so happens that IGN, upon the cancellation of it on our end, decides we're going to put out our own top 100 video game countdown list. And it's 100 pages of clickbait. And I actually thought that they were going to go the other direction and have... them in segments of 25, and I was going to be like, oh, well, that's intelligent. Yeah. And then I actually clicked on the page, and I was like, oh, they're still stupid.
IGN doing anything, I know how popular they are, I know everybody loves that website, but IGN and intelligence do not mix.
Well, and this is my thing, like, I really liked IGN back in the day, and I still like them for video game information.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the pop culture experience, I find them useless. And I'm not trying to sound like a dick with that, even though I am. And we've been at odds with IGN since we started this. Like, it's been fun. That's why we started the top 100, because the 100 pages of clickbait is ridiculous. And Dan actually brought it to our attention, and I found it quite humorous that they decided to go this route. And I, just looking at the list, like, I have it pulled up right now. They're doing it in 20 number segments, and it looks like, you know, if you clicked on it, it says home 180, 60, 40, 21. And I'm like, okay, well, if they're going to do it like that, okay. And then they said how they rated it. They have a page of how they rated it, and then the multi-platform makes no difference. It's just the game itself. Yeah. And then on each day, they're releasing the 20 for each episode. Okay. Or each post for 5 days of the week. Right. They said, let's jump in with the 100th greatest game ever made, and they say, let's do this, and they literally take you to the 100th game. And then there's no way to jump between... There's no way to separate between 100 and 80. So if you need to get from like 100 to 81... You just have to hit the over. There's no like number to press, like to even remotely skip to like say if you left off at say 92. See, you have to click through the pages 8 times to get to 92 because there is no 92 number. And then and there are little arrows and everything. And I like how it's laid out. Like, don't get me wrong, but to have, and it's like literally 2 paragraphs. And then they have three little bullet points of highlights. And then they have the year it's released, the title, and then the number rank. There's literally nothing like as an actual review of why.
See, this is why ours are better, because we spend, I mean, if you look at the top 100 animated series or the top 100 animated films, all 7, or I should say 4, I think those were each 7 podcasts, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All 14 of those podcasts are at least 1 hour in length. So let's just say each one is 1 hour in length. That's 14 hours of us explaining why we ranked what we ranked, where we ranked it.
Well, let me further this. Not only do they put of all time, because we got bit in the ass with that the first time, which is why the second one became a countdown. And the second one is the countdown. Yep. I will never call it of all time ever again because of that. Because it is not of all time. It is our combined geeky list with our contributors and us. It is by no means the ultimatum 100. Like, there is no 100 because everybody has different opinions of the games, different tastes. Yep. And honestly, like, the IGN people, I don't know where they get this crap or where they get their people that rank this stuff because they're so batshit in random directions with this that there's games that should be higher up in the list that are at the bottom and then vice versa. And it boggles my mind how bad their lists are. And let me go through the comments really quickly.
Oh, no.
Because... And I'm only going to go for the last, let's say 10, 15 of them and kind of browse through. The first one that I see is, why not just release the whole list on Friday in a single actual list?
Yeah.
And then the next comment, my goodness, this list is bad. I mean, people are entitled to opinions and such, but there's inclusions in this list that are just absurd and placements that are mind-bogglingly stupid. And then And then they're saying how insulting and meaningless and subjective that this list is. And then it says, to think that across all of the staff in this site, everyone seriously agrees with this list is beyond me. I'm afraid to see the top 20. And then the next one is, list is terrible to most of us because it's the dude's personal preference, which is true. But again, you can't call it all time if it's your personal preference. Say it's the IGN's top 100.
Yeah.
Staff 100 or something.
Yeah.
And because there's games that are like, they're critically acclaimed games and they're not in the top 20. They're like ranked at the bottom.
Yeah.
of the barrel, and then another one says, this list is just bad. I don't need my favorite games to be on everyone's list in the order I believe, but when I see an all-time list, I expect a certain standard for the choices to be understandable. It's the same reason why we did ours. I mean, we'll
see with ours, and most people know this. Maybe the people that haven't, heard it before, maybe the new listeners to AG. AGU's been around for 2 years now out of the almost 7 years that GCRN's been around. But it's one of those things where, in case you guys don't know, we get, at minimum, there's at least 5 or 6, maybe 10 main core GCRN people. There's a little more now that with Talking in Circles and the Cinema GeekCast. And so let's just say, for argument's sake, there's 15 total core GCRN voters that are solely on the network. Then we got all our syndicated people, Turtle Flakes, Punisher Body Count, Marku 42, all that stuff.
Then we have our sister site, This Week in Geek.
And we have this, so in total, we have, and plus all the people that Dan is reaching.
Not only Dan but like Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin and Dan have like all these movie database people and all these gaming people that they know that are including in our list as well.
So, at this point, we've reached out, I would say, for the top 100 TV shows countdown, we've reached out to over 80 different people for this master list.
I would say probably 20 to 30 different outlets.
Well, yeah, but
overall, between all those people.
Right, but I mean, the way I looked at it was, how many people did I send an email to? It was at least 40 people.
That you sent emails to.
Right, but what I'm saying is, overall, that we have probably close to 50 or 60, maybe 70 different other people other than us that are going to be hopefully contributing lists to this countdown. And then what Kevin usually does is he takes all the lists and combines them into one master list, and he uses a point system where if you rank something, I don't think you'll do this, but let's say Steve does rank Supernatural the number one show in his opinion of all time. That show at number one gets 100 points. If you rank, let's say, Once Upon a Time at number 100, that show only gets 1 point.
Cosby Show 100.
I'm
just doing. I have to connect this episode. It's fun.
Yeah.
Controversy is fun this week.
Yeah.
That's the title of the episode.
Controversy is fun. There you go. So that's how that's going to work, and obviously Kevin's going to have other stuff to tell everybody when we start this thing. But essentially, that's how it's worked in the past, where we get all these lists together, we combine it into one master list, and that's how we do it. But yeah, I mean, IGN.
Like I said, they used to be respectable in my opinion, but there's a reason why so many of the guys flake out and leave the network, and then they go somewhere else because they just get tired of their crap, and then their lists are crap. And I know it sounds like I'm throwing a big shitstorm towards them. I really do respect them because obviously they're doing something right if they're making money off this. But I look at it like this. I would love to make money off this. Mm-hmm. I don't. I do it for the fun, and even though sometimes it seems like I would rather bury it and burn it alive, there is no way I would ever do it because my passion for it is way higher than that.
Yeah.
And I have this level of integrity, and this will come back in another segment later. It's all connected, like Marvel, only not because Marvel's not. So I don't want to hate on them, but I hate the way that they conduct it. I understand they're trying to get advertising dollars, and that's fine, but having people click through 100 pages of shit to get your entire top 100 is not really fair to the fans or the listeners.
I remember when we did the top 100 animated series of all time. When we did it, because it was called All Time at that point,
and we actually had things ranked decently,
right? But
there were a couple of foo bars in the top 5, or top 10, but overall our list was pretty spot on.
Right. Well, I remember when we were researching and doing this and everything else, and Kevin pointed out the IGN list. I remember, ladies and gentlemen,
I remember I was putting in the comment section, come visit ours.
I know, but well, wait a minute here. I remember when we were doing the research, and Kevin's like, you should really look at the IGN list to help inform you on why we're even doing this, and then make your list and blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, I remember I don't remember a lot of stuff from 5, 6, 7 years ago, folks. I just don't anymore.
The top 100s I do.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, I remember it took me at least 45 minutes to click through all 100 animated series of theirs. Now, I did this twice. I did it at 2 different times. The first time I did it, I wanted to actually see what they had to say about each one. That time, clicking through all 100 pages of IGN's top 100 animated series of all time list, that took me at least 2 hours. The second time, just to remind myself where they ranked stuff, that I was just essentially just click, 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 that took me 45 minutes. So I spent, in total, 2 hours and 45 minutes looking at IGN's animated list, and ours at 7 hours or so of podcasting is so much better.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't get it. Like, how I don't know. I think we put a higher standard on the whole process, than these other sites, or I should say IGN, because I don't know what other sites do top 100s. I mean, I know that they do them. I know that it's not an exclusive thing.
I know Spike had the top 100 video games. It was a
yeah,
TV.
but they're almost more.
I know, but it was a TV
respectable.
thing. Yeah, well, it's
then. Yeah. I don't know. Just I don't trust IGN anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because. And I guess we'll move into the next controversy thing, and then get into some lighter topics.
Wait, what's the next controversy thing? The fact that
oh, you weren't paying attention to this.
I thought
this was something I retweeted earlier today.
Oh no.
Let me see if I can find it.
Well, while you're looking, at first I thought you were talking about the fact that Maine now does not care if you carry concealed or not. You don't need a permit in the state of Maine to carry a concealed weapon.
Okay, I found it. It was a tweet earlier that went out, and it says, "I can't believe so many sites ran a Fantastic Four rumor that was clearly bullshit, chasing hits but not serving readers." And in process of retweeting this, I got comments too, because I agree with it. And I never shy away from a conversation where I run my mouth. So the Bronze Review, who also follow me,
right,
says it's like sites continually discussing another season of Firefly. And then I said, the absurdity of sites trying to use clickbait for hits makes me less interested in them. And then they said, agreed, no journalistic integrity anymore. That's why I post links to actual interviews I do with actual people, no copying.
Right.
And I says, I do the same. I says, I don't grab as much of the media pie. I know what we do is legit. No rumors or clickbait reports.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, exactly. And I basically said after that, I was like, it's like articles like these, and I retweeted this thing of Back to the Future 4, where Christopher Lloyd says, it was Cinema Blend that posted this, and normally I follow stuff from them because it's just easier, and I like their site, and it's kind of easy to read.
Right.
But anyways, they said that Christopher Lloyd says, oh, I'd love to do Doc Brown again, no question, but it's tough to come up with an idea that contains the excitement of the original 3 films, so it'd be a real challenge for the writers to come up with an original Back to the Future story that has the same passion, intensity, and excitement as the other 3, but it could be done, you never know. Even though the guy that created it, Robert Zemeckis, said no way in flying hell would this ever happen.
Yeah.
And this comes out days after he said there will not be another film, and then, the Hollywood Reporter asks Christopher Lloyd his thoughts on appearing in a possible Back to the Future 4, which is admittedly never going to happen. because they hold all the rights to it, and they've pretty much said as much.
I don't want it. Okay, as much as
I don't want another movie. Like, I'm fine if they want to do a short.
As much as I love Christopher Lloyd, as much as I love Michael J. Fox,
it's way past that time.
Unless Christopher Lloyd is too damn old. Michael J. Fox, sadly, has suffered from Parkinson's disease for years. And it takes him, like, when he was on Spin City, after the fact of all the Back to the Future and Family Tie stuff, and he was on Spin City, he had to leave Spin City after, like, 5 seasons because he couldn't control the Parkinson's anymore. Like, he couldn't...
And then they had to replace him with Tiger Blood.
Oh, I had to bring that up.
I was leaving it at that. That's before he went nuts.
Yeah, this is before he went nuts. But... I don't want a film. I don't want a TV series. I don't want... if they bring in Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox to do animated shorts or another animated series, fine, sure, whatever, that'd be great. Since you brought this up, I'll bring this up. IDW on 10/21/2015, Back to the Future Day, this next week after this episode airs, they are launching a 4-issue Back to the Future miniseries. I am on IDW's media list, and I have read the issue, folks. I'm not going to spoil it. I'll say this. The Back to the Future 4-issue miniseries, it breaks down like this. There are 2 stories in each comic book. And at the end of the first issue, which comes out on October 21st, there's a letter from Bob Gale in that book where he talks about what Back to the Future was, how they could come back to it, what they could do. And it's really interesting because they essentially... they want to follow the timeline of Back to the Future's franchise, but they don't want to have to deal with time travel in the comic. So they basically just tell you stories from various times and points within the Back to the Future timeline. Like the first story, and we'll talk about this next week on oh my god, I was almost going to say altering the pull bag. Wow,
altered pull bag.
Yeah. Well, you guys will hear our review of Back to the Future #1 from IDW on the pull bag next week. But when I read it, I was like, wow, they're putting us the reader into a time period, and they're telling a story, and that's just awesome, and it works so well for the franchise. We don't need another TV series. We don't need a rebooted TV series. We don't need a rebooted film with different actors and all that stuff. Back to the Future is one of the few franchises that just lives on as it was. It doesn't need anything else. Most anyone, and I'm sure you specifically, you'll show Ian and Nolan those films.
I have them on Blu-ray.
I know.
They're among my pinnacle of top 10 films.
I know.
There's no way I could go without.
But what I'm saying is, as a parent, you teaching the next generation of children, when you sit your kids down to watch those films and they ask, "Daddy, what's a video game cabinet?" In the scene where he's like, "Oh, lone gunman," that you'll explain it to your kids what a video game cabinet was. That's just the way that you are. You know what I mean? So it doesn't need updating. It doesn't.
I mean, yeah, some of the stuff didn't come true, but that's the whole point of the video that Toyota's putting out on the 21st. Mm-hmm. Because that's supposed to be the day that they went.
That's the day they went into the future, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, they're putting out, they already put out a little 1-minute teaser, but they're going to put out the full video on the 21st. But it's Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox sitting in a booth in a restaurant talking about what came true and what didn't come true from Back to the Future. And I think that that's actually all we need.
Yeah.
I think that that's priceless. I think that that's great. And it's the same classiness that we got from a car commercial that we got when we got the Ferris Bueller, Matthew Broderick, when he's driving the vehicle.
Yep, absolutely.
And, that to me is the perfect way to homage the old stuff without having to ruin it or make a sequel.
Right.
And I'm fine with that.
Yep.
I think that franchise doesn't need to be redone, and I'm glad that Zemeckis put his foot down.
Yep. And it's not just Zemeckis.
And
it's
not that I wouldn't love to see another one with those guys, but they're just, you're going to have geriatric Doc Brown, and then you're going to have Michael J. Fox
I made this
not
comment.
able to contain himself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's neither of their fault. I mean, it's just age and their bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I don't want to see. I want to remember it how it was and not have it ruined. I do like how the Jaws 19 trailer that dropped.
Yeah, that was kind of
awesome.
week.
That was kind of cool.
That
and they're
was
like,
pretty cool.
They pulled the whole 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, like end of the credits trailer thing for the next like 20 movies.
Yeah.
So it was actually kind of priceless doing it that way. So I liked that. But again, it's neither here nor there. But
I'll say this: I think that because, as I said in the letter that Bob Gale wrote at the back of the IDW #1 issue for Back to the Future. He said right now they're contracted for 4 issues and we'll see what happens after that. The way that they're going to do those stories is, as I already said, they're going to drop us, the reader, into different time periods within the continuity of the... They're not redoing... Like, this isn't an adaptation of Back to the Future 1, 2, 3, and what... It's not... It's time periods around the events of the films. So... dealing with either Doc Brown and Marty or Doc Brown on his own or whatever. So I think that's the best thing at this point, to have the comic series from IDW to be able to engross us, the diehard fans, into other adventures that Marty and Doc might have. It's the only format that can work without really...
ruining it.
Yeah. Pretty much. So what... kind of future do you want to look at now?
Well, I'm going to finish that first, but but yeah, I said that it's articles like these, grasping at straws, or movie pilots, multitude like that, and then they said the problem is people have been programmed to think they need this content. Breaking news is what society has become. And then I said very true. I'd rather have breaking quality news that has to be than have to be updated with time wasting articles. Which most of the time when I start seeing those, I tune out. I unfollow the group. I'm done with them. Like I can't with the way all these organizations are now. Like I can't be a part of the rumor mill. Like. Mm-hmm. And that's why I've quit dropping crap about rumors or casting stuff or anything like that, because I personally can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you really can't stand it.
I
think we should jump to a lighter note, though.
All right, how about, let's see here. All right, this isn't in the script, but what is your opinion of General Mills making a marshmallow-only Lucky Charms box of cereal?
Cavity City?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I enjoy the marshmallows better, but I might as well buy a whole bag of marshmallows and just eat those, which I do. But those giant, Stay Puft marshmallows.
Yeah.
I break those out of the cupboard and I eat them.
Oh boy!
And I'll grab 10 of them, and then they're good.
Yeah.
And then I want to barf after I've eaten all 10. So I can't see this being a logical idea, because the cereal, as much as I dislike it being frosted and everything else, offsets the marshmallow sweetness.
Yep.
Because it's got the grainy taste to it. It's kind of I eat more of the marshmallows with it, and I prefer to eat the marshmallows, but that's further increase child cavities and obesity. Way to go, General Mills. All right, I think that's kind of horse crap. I mean, they want to talk about, we need to get healthy, and F you, McDonald's, for feeding our kids and making them fat, but we'll fill you up with sugar and artificial sweeteners. And
so we mentioned the cereal. Let's talk about a Saturday morning I don't know if it's going to be Saturday morning cartoons, but Disney has the Lion Guard Return of the Roar, or whatever it's going to be called.
It's Simba's son.
Yeah. Didn't he have a daughter?
Yeah, he had a daughter. But this is supposed to be his son, years later. So,
yeah.
Matthew Broderick's not doing anything anymore. They should just have him be the dad.
I wish he would.
But they could have the other guy do it too. That there was another guy that voiced him in Lion King 2. It sounded just like Broderick. You would have never known.
Yeah. I've seen the footage, some of the first teaser of this. It looks kind of cool.
It looks nice, but I'm still gonna miss Timon and Pumbaa.
Oh yeah.
I don't really. I mean, my son will probably like this, but I don't really care, and I don't have Disney, so it's not really going to impact me all that much unless I download it. So, now if they would be willing to give me this set for free, on DVD, I would review it and watch it with my son.
Yeah.
To kind of get that kind of duality review of his thoughts and mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm interested for it because I like the original Lion King, and I have high hopes for it. But I'm not going to start drinking the Kool-Aid for it yet.
Yeah. So let me ask you, how in the hell is Die Hard 6 going to be a prequel story?
Okay. I don't know if you've been reading this, because apparently the studio thinks this is such a wonderful idea, and Wiseman, the guy that directed, Live Free or Die Hard, is who they're trying to get for this film. Mm-hmm. But they want to keep Bruce Willis in the loop, obviously, because it's Die Hard. But they want to do a prequel before Die Hard 1 where he's just a street cop.
But he's too old to be...
No, they want to get a younger actor to play street cop McClane, and then they're going to jump back to present day and the ramifications of everything. So I can't see in any way that this would actually be good. And didn't they already do this movie? What was it, Looper? Mm-hmm. With Joseph Gordon-Levitt, playing,
it was...
young Bruce Willis, and then...
Yep.
Why don't they just do themselves a favor and pull a Looper and just kill himself?
Wasn't that The Sixth Sense? Oh, no, wait, he was already...
No, that was in Looper.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Gordon-Levitt, spoiler alert, sorry, but Gordon-Levitt shot himself, killed himself, and future Willis went away.
Looper was one of those weird movies. I almost wish I never saw that thing.
I enjoyed it.
I don't know. I might have to go back and watch it again, but I remember after I watched that movie...
Because Bruce Willis was trying to kill somebody, and in the future, he was... And there was no way out of it, no matter what scenario that happened. And then finally, Gordon-Levitt, young Bruce Willis was you know what? And then he just turns the barrel on himself, and then future one goes away, and it stopped the loop.
Yep.
So I was okay, that's the end, and I moved on. Mm-hmm. But I'm personally, that's another franchise that needs to die.
Hard.
Ha ha ha.
Honestly, for me, I will not say anything about, Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Russia, because I haven't seen Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Russia.
Mr. Falcon.
Yeah. I haven't seen Die Hard 5. I don't know if I ever will, but for me personally, where they left it off in 3 and 4 is more than fine.
Have you seen Olympus Has Fallen?
Not yet. I should. It's on Netflix.
It's got Gerard Butler in it.
Okay.
It would have made a spectacular Die Hard 5.
Yeah.
It would have made a spectacular Die Hard 5. This would have been, after Die Hard 4, where you had him in Washington.
Right.
This would have been, the crown pinnacle on the series. If they would have had this, be John McClane. Mm-hmm. And had... Because it's the same sort of scenarios, that you would see John McClane pull, only with a younger actor.
Yeah. And
different names. But, it was and then I watched that mess that's Die Hard with a Russia, and it's 90% of the movie is Bruce Willis yelling Jack, 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 and then he goes Yippee-Ki-Yay, and then it's it could have been it's like a Nicolas Cage B movie.
Wow,
that's how far Bruce Willis has come at this point. He's doing B movies, It's become I don't know, his John McClane, he should have just stopped after Die Hard 4, and then it's been you know what, I think that's good, almost like Lethal Weapon. We did 4, we're good,
And while Mel Gibson looked great in The Expendables 3, he's too old to play.
And Danny Glover's too old for this shit.
Yeah, they're both too old for this shit.
Well, I was quoting his character.
I know.
So yeah, I just I
I
find it entertaining anyway.
What was interesting this year about, and I'm kind of switching gears on you here. What was interesting this year about New York Comic Con is we had like 3 or 4 different people crash the con. We had Jared Leto crash as somebody.
He came as a Joker.
No, he didn't. He
did.
Anyway, so Jared Leto crashed New York Comic Con. I heard that Mark Ruffalo also crashed New York Comic Con as well. Not as the Hulk, but like I saw 3 or 4 different stories this week about different celebrities crashing or going to New York Comic Con in these super elaborate costumes. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, if they really want to go for the con experience without being mobbed, I mean, and let's face it, you know, people like Mark Ruffalo and Jared Leto, I'm sure they have plenty of security and whatever else, but still, it's like the whole celebrity life of needing to live behind a wall of security guards, that's not really living. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I mean, that's fine. I'm cool with it.
Apparently Ratchet and Clank is finally coming.
I know, that's actually kind of cool. I'm excited because David Kaye is Clank.
Yay! That's so awesome.
I'm a huge David Kaye fanboy.
Yes, we know, Megatron.
Yes, I know. Which is why...
Don't even say it. Your
What?
wife might be listening.
Yeah. You just had to check my Twitter feed.
Yeah.
But I was like, I couldn't believe I forgot his, somehow missed his birthday yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
Online. And I was like, happy belated birthday. And then Chris Hernandez from, I met her at TFCon a few years back, but I knew her online. But she's like, me too. I didn't know, I didn't realize it either. And then we're like, we have to celebrate. We have to watch Beast Wars. We have to watch something with David Kaye in it. And then I says, I'm going to tune into some Beast Wars. Can't wait for Ratchet and Clank. And then like he was just on a favorite spree of everything I was posting. But and then I'm like, I'm going to have to get some photos. So I did. And then they were like, he was out of the 2.
Oh.
Well, I chose the ones without the titles on them.
Right.
Because
You want the clean image.
I wanted the clean image.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't like he said he was out of all of them like that of the Megatron, but he had like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
He said he just hadn't had any printed up in a while. So I was like, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. So I got it anyway, just with the text. I was like, because it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same image, so it takes up very little space. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it anyway. I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the one where he's got the chased by Beast Wars Megatron.
Yeah, that's
with the dragon, or not the dragon, but the dinosaur, and he's doing it too.
That's awesome.
Had it been the dragon,
you'd have got that.
I would have been all over it.
Yeah.
But I do like the character collage. That was pretty neat too. I didn't get that one, but
Right.
that may eventually be on my hit list. I'm hoping someday I can meet him at a con. Depending on what happens.
You've been to TFCon twice, right?
No, once. Then to TFCon, and the very next year he went.
Yeah.
And then I went to BotCon, and the very next year he goes.
Wins, yeah.
But I did meet Welker, so that was kind of a crown pinnacle there. But I still want to beat David Kaye because
obviously
it's freaking Megatron. Like,
yeah.
That's like, I mean, yeah, Welker is the definitive Megatron, but like
David Kaye is Beast Wars
Kaye is
Megatron.
like my Megatron.
Yeah, absolutely. So shall I jump into some more controversy? This one this one really isn't controversy, but it's
it's the one about the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, we can go there.
So I saw that, like,
that'll be sad.
Yeah, he Damn him and his radio deadline. He missed out on talking about sex on HEU.
Yeah, the one time it comes up.
Well, if he was here every week, I'm sure he'd find some way to trickle it in.
You know, I'm surprised you missed that. You could have said that's what she said. But,
yeah. So here's the thing, folks. I saw most of how I see news on Facebook is through their trending thing, and I'll look at it and I'll double and triple check it to make sure, and I'll find different websites, like legitimate websites that are reporting on certain things. And the most legitimate one I found was at the New York Times. Nudes are old news at Playboy. Okay. Last month, Corey Jones, a top editor at Playboy, went to see its founder, Hugh Hefner, at the Playboy Mansion. In a wood-paneled dining room with Picasso and de Kooning prints on the walls, Mr. Jones nervously presented a radical suggestion. The magazine, a leader in the revolution that helped take sex in America from a furtive to a ubiquitous, should stop publishing images of naked women. Mr. Hefner, now 89 but still listed as editor-in-chief, agreed. As part of the redesign that will be unveiled next March 2016, the print edition of Playboy will still feature women in provocative poses, but they will no longer be fully nude. The article goes on to say, its executives admit that Playboy has been overtaken by the changes it pioneered. That battle has been fought and won, said Scott Flanders, the company's chief executive. You're now one click away from every sex act imaginable for free, and so it's just passé at this juncture. Okay, sure. It's a full-on change and redesign of Playboy, and it's a staple that they've had since their inception way back when. But the times they are changing, and you've got to, in order to stay relevant, you have to, especially for a magazine like Playboy, you have to go with the times. And I mean, while everyone, I'm sure every male in this country is up in arms about no more nude centerfolds.
I don't really think it's a big deal because, like...
I don't either.
And not even that, really... I was watching, the Philip DeFranco show the other day, and he said something about it, and it kind of rings true. If you really want to look at it, it's free online anyway. What do you don't really need a magazine with it. And plus, if they're trying to go towards the more editorial route, and they don't have to do nudes, they can still do tasteful images.
And that's what they're doing.
And really, I don't really care to see it, because,
I know.
If you're, with somebody anyway, it's not really relevant to you anymore. Plus, with its, the amount it's in our culture now, it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't resonate like it used to, because it's not, it's not out in the open.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like...
or it is out in the open, I should say.
Yeah, it is, but here's the thing about the whole thing with Playboy for me. Playboy in its heyday was all about... Because in its heyday, there was no internet. There was no online free-for-all porn store. That's what Playboy was. That every month you could guarantee yourself, if you had a subscription to Playboy, that you were going to get a nude centerfold, you were going to get whatever else Playboy had in the magazine. And at this point, the joke of, people joking of, oh, I get Playboy, I read it for the articles, technically that's true, because I know several different people that have had articles published in Playboy that have nothing to do with sex or anything like that. So, I mean, I don't see this as a big deal. I see this as them evolving with the times and them increasing their branding, really. I mean, it's not like they're, completely stopping showing women in provocative poses like the article says. That, they're going to still do that. It's just the full-on nudity is going to be removed, which I'm fine with it. I mean, it doesn't really bother me all that much. And like you said, let's face it, everything is online now. I'm really surprised that they even still have a print version of Playboy.
I really am too, honestly. I really don't see... I don't even buy magazines like anymore. I haven't bought a magazine in probably like, I can't even tell you the last time I bought one. I like to look at them when I go in the store. Like, I don't look at Playboy. I look at like, video game magazines, and I look at, computer magazines because I'm trying to see if it's worth buying the stupid thing. Because I know I can get it online, but if it's all there collectively, I'd rather just buy it. But I'm not going to spend $10 on a magazine either. So at the same time, I find what I want, and then I look it up on their website for free. So like, it's just I don't know. Like I don't see how magazines are even relevant in today's age.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I don't like them because I still
no.
do.
Yeah,
I would buy them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They used to be like $6, and now they're like 12, and they're paper thin, literally. So like, I don't see the point in actually like putting money forth.
Yep.
But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just an asshole.
No, you're right. And
kind of getting back to the whole Playboy thing, like, I'm surprised they've been around. I'm surprised because if you've been paying attention, like even in the news, like a lot of those type magazines that have like the nudity pictures and everything, and they've been floating it around. Like there's some that are like completely like nude or completely like topless or stuff like that. They've been all going away, and yet I think Playboy is trying to curb that before they're a victim of the same fate.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So can't say I blame them. And it's kind of nice to see that they are preserving themselves in that essence.
Absolutely.
Because, they are, as much as, some people may hate it, they are fairly reputable.
Absolutely.
They've been around forever.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to their candy bars, but I'm just saying I don't buy that stuff because I don't. But for those that have been lying to themselves for years, saying that they buy it for the articles and they're really buying it for the other reason, now you have a reason to buy it for the articles. They won't have the other.
Yeah.
So,
continuing on this trend of controversy, really controversial was Target out.
Yeah, well, let me start this one off before you actually get into the meat of the topic, literally. Well, if they had the meat. Where's the beef? Remember how they went all gender neutral a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't gonna fly in that category.
No. So Target out in Campbell, California, there was a woman out there, Gina Young, mother of twins, was shopping in a local Target store in the Westgate Mall on October 14th when what sounded like a porn movie began to play over the store intercom. Young posted a video of the incident, which had over 36,000 views at time of writing. Young said that when the noises began, people offered to help me cover my twins' ears, others threw their stuff down and walked out. Employees were running around everywhere, picking and hanging up phones, which worked for about 2 minutes before it started up again. So here's the thing with this story: who in their right mind would do something like this? Seriously,
somebody that was trying to get even with a company that screwed him out of a paycheck.
I guess so.
Because, not gonna lie, if I hated someplace that much,
I don't think I would go this
do
far.
It.
I don't think I would go this far.
I wouldn't go that far, but I'd have great fun messing with somebody, in general.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do that, just because as much as a company might piss me off at some point, I have this code of honor that I could never do that. I would feel horrible as a human being for doing that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're in the day that we recorded this episode, folks. I was going through and preparing for future M-Wires, and one of the future M-Wires we're going to be doing is Ferris Bueller. And as I'm I haven't even watched the movie yet as of this recording of AGU, but and obviously I know the movie like the back of my hand. But anyway, I'm reading through the quotes on IMDb, and the more and more and more that I think about it, when it comes to you and I am essentially Ferris, and you are essentially Cameron. I have to talk you into stuff sometimes, or I have to give you ideas, and then your mind runs with them. But it's just one of those things where there are certain things I know you would just never do, and this is one of them. And I want to know. I cannot wait to read in a few days or next week or whenever when Target actually comes out and makes a statement about this, because I want to know how the hell this happened. They had a porno playing on their intercom, people.
kind of along the same route. Like, when I was in middle school, we had a sub. Some kid thought it would be hilarious to distract the sub. Had another kid that replaced the video we were supposed to watch in the VCR machine. You know, and you knew when they were going to play a video. Because like, they would always pull the big-ass cart with the big 32-inch TV or 27-inch or whatever it was. But it was that big CRT TV. And they'd have the big, VHS thing. And the cart was, like, friggin' huge. And you knew it was going to happen. So, like, when they did that, we ended up with about 60 seconds of porn playing in class. And yeah, I didn't watch it, but from what I hear, he had like a spastic fit. The teacher did, the sub. He shook for a minute, ran over, ejected it, shattered the tape over his knee, and he left the room. And he comes back, and the principals and all of security are there checking everybody, and they found another tape.
Oh no!
So yeah, that was kind of interesting, but it's along the same route. Like, it's a place that you don't cross, and yet it happened.
Yeah. I'm just looking on Facebook and stuff for news stuff now at this point, because I just saw a trending thing that apparently Jennifer Aniston's new husband got presented with a life-size doll of her on the Ellen show.
That's just creepy as hell.
First of all, he's married to the real thing. Why would Ellen need to give him a life-size doll of his wife?
In case she divorces him too.
I mean, seriously.
She has this bad habit of losing husbands.
Well,
Or boyfriends.
Yeah, true. I mean, this is just crazy. Just so crazy.
We sent you a life-size replica of your wife.
It just doesn't. It makes no sense. The other story that I had, not necessarily controversial, it's more of like your daily dose of blah. Fox News guest analyst arrested for lying about working for the CIA. A Fox News guest terrorism analyst was arrested on Thursday after a grand jury indicted him on charges of falsely claiming to have been a CIA agent for decades. U.S. prosecutors said Wayne Simmons, 62, of Annapolis, Maryland, bogusly portrayed himself as an outside paramilitary special operations officer for the Central Intelligence Agency from 1973 to 2000. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Virginia Eastern District said in a statement, Simmons allegedly tried to use that claim to get government security clearances and work as a defense contractor. At one point, he was deployed overseas and an intelligence advisor to senior military officers, in the statement said. He faces charges of major fraud against the United States, wire fraud, and making false statements to the government. Like, seriously, why would you... Like, I've seen, like, bad, movies about, guys saying that, guys or women saying, hey, I used to work for the CIA and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, God, why would you even try to get away with that?
Some people just are shitheads, to put it nicely.
Well, some people are just, like... It's kind of been my mantra for a while, and sometimes I lose my common sense every now and then, but this world at large, especially the U.S., none of the people in the U.S., I would say maybe 70% don't have their common sense anymore.
Nope, they have common dollars.
Yeah.
Which is about as fake as a $3 bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think.
Well, yes.
Well, should we say who's going to be stomping Thor's Ragnaroks?
That would be the Hulk. Might actually be the first Thor movie I actually enjoyed, but it has nothing to do with Thor.
Yeah, it's the Hulk is going to be in the movie with Thor in Ragnarok, which is kind of interesting considering they decided not to put them in Civil War. I think either of them.
Yeah, well, with Spider-Man being in Civil War, that probably wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, their plate of Fruit Loops was pretty full.
Yep, really was.
Everybody likes fruit. No, they don't. No. So yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I'd rather see that dynamic now that, because I mean, if you think about it, they're all getting so intertwined with each other now.
Yeah, I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like, it's obviously all connected, but it's just all over the place now.
And I'm fine with that. Like, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that at this point, because they've expanded the universe so much, they really don't have a choice other than to have more stuff happen like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't care for Thor much before. Like, I like him in the Avengers movies, but that's about as far as it goes. Like, I honestly don't like him all that much as a character. And I didn't really like Hulk all that much until Ruffalo's played him. So, I think it kind of gives me that, you know, that taste of the character without having to, like, hate him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to like the dynamic of, because, you know, obviously it sounds like Thor's going to need some heavy-hitting help.
Yeah.
And this might actually lead to the Hulk being in space.
Mm-hmm. See, my thing is, like, Thor on his own, I can give two craps less. I just don't care. He's a being, he's a god from another planet that I just cannot relate to whatsoever. But when he's with the Avengers, or even when he's with Hulk, like, you know, in the first Avengers movie, he had, you know, the scene where he punches Thor. Or, no, where Thor punches him. You know, I like their chemistry, especially, obviously, with Ruffalo in the role of Hulk and all that stuff. So, it could be cool. I don't know. And eventually I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the original Thor movies and see if my opinion changes and all. But I just, they're two Marvel movies. I just don't really care. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of of the same opinion. I'm waiting till I see something worth watching. But I think I'm kind of getting burnt out with Marvel anyway, so it's not really that big a deal to me.
Yeah,
like with DC coming out with all they're going to have.
Yeah, they need to get off their ass and give us something already, because Marvel is just burning us out.
Although Star Wars.
Well, yeah, but that's not Marvel. That's Disney.
No,
now.
but it's going to be epic.
Well, yes, that's beside the point.
I can't wait. Side note: Pee Wee Herman is playing Penguin's dad on Gotham.
He's reprising his role from Batman Returns,
which is going to be great.
Which I don't even. I remember 5 seconds of Penguin's parents in Batman Returns. Like they.
Yeah, he was in the flashback.
Yeah, I know. Like
of them setting him afloat on the river.
Well, that and the birth in the very beginning of the movie.
He's like, ugh.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I've been watching Gotham Season 2, I've been watching The Flash Season 2, and I've been watching Arrow Season 4. Gotham Season 2 is a much improved show over the first season.
Oh, yeah. Immensely.
And
things are actually happening.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I know you're not that into Jerome being the Joker because whatever.
He did.
I know. Well, supposedly. We don't know. But, you know.
Well, the spreading of the laughter, I'm saying that
yeah,
that's going to be the victim thing.
Well, for me, when I was watching this and I got to see more of Jerome in the Season 2 episodes, I'm like, wow. He's really combining both Nicholson and Ledger and making it his own. And I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, he had the graveliness of Ledger, but he had the
of
Nicholson.
Yep. And
he had the perfect blend of it. And
absolutely.
I mean, and it's possible that he's not dead.
Mm-hmm.
It is a written drama.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
it is possible, and it's comics.
Yeah.
So,
with The Flash, they haven't gone too dark. Like, people are saying that, oh my God, The Flash is so dark now. It's not as bright as Season 1 as far as the tone of the show because of
it's
all
more neutral color.
Yeah, well, it's more monotone. Yeah, but it's one of those things where look at what happened throughout season, like the last 7 episodes of Season 1. You know, all that stuff with Wells or Eobard Thawne or whatever you want to call him, and Reverse Flash and opening up the Singularity, which I didn't know where they were going to go with that. But now that we're in Season 2, and now that I realize, oh God, they're doing Crisis. Or they're leading up to somehow doing Crisis, because now they have the Infinite Earths.
Well, because they already dropped the name of Earth 1 and Earth 2.
And Earth 3, yeah.
Yeah, so... And
Arrow...
There's going to be something that happens with the Doctor.
Yeah, it's because Ronnie is dead.
Yeah, well...
Supposedly Ronnie.
He's going to become the... Did you see the Blue Flame thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's a villain in the DC universe.
Okay.
And it spawns out of...
Stein.
Well, yeah, but it's actually like because something similar happens, and there's like a blue version that it eventually becomes like the Black Lantern Firestorm that is minus like off of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like and it's a direct correlation to the fact that Ronnie's dead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because they were so they didn't really get a chance to be so connected, but they were very connected in Season 1. Did you see, this is Flash related, it's a little old, but a couple weeks ago I saw some sort of mock-up with Danielle Panabaker looking like Killer Frost. Did you ever see that image?
Yep.
That was awesome. I can't wait until we see it turn.
She can't wait for it.
Yeah. With Arrow, I'm digging Arrow again, finally. We're out of the darkness that was Season 3. I think what I'm enjoying so far out of Arrow is the fact that we can finally say that Oliver and Felicity are now in a relationship. They've but they're in this whole relationship thing, and it kind of makes it easier on me as a viewer seeing, like, I don't mind the tension between Diggle and Oliver, because that's obviously going to be there for what Oliver did with Lila and Diggle's daughter. But the constant will they, won't they aspect of television always bugs me, but really ended up bugging me more with Felicity and Oliver. And now that they're together, I'm much happier. And now that the show has... pretty much the only dark tones right now with Arrow is the villain in Neil McDonough's Damien Dark, and
who's going to also be in Legends of Tomorrow,
right? And whatever the hell's going on with Thea in the Lazarus Pit. That episode this week, oh my God, have you seen it?
Yeah.
The end of that episode.
Yeah.
Wow. That was the creepiest dead body I think I've ever seen.
They did good on that.
Yeah. But so far, I mean, all the comic... I don't want to say... Well, with Flash and Arrow, we can say superhero. With Gotham, we really can't, because there's no actual Batman there. But with all the comic book-based television shows right now that are currently airing, all three of them, I am really enjoying all three of them so far with their new seasons.
Mm-hmm. I can't disagree with that. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I kind of catch on the rebound. Like, I'm still watching it.
Yeah.
It's more of it's a guilty pleasure thing now at this point.
Okay, there are 4 comic book shows. 3 out of the 4.
I am waiting for Supergirl, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm stoked for that.
Yeah. I've already seen the pilot, but yeah.
So have I.
I mean, I don't want to say too much, but the pilot really...
I heard that they added stuff.
Oh, did they?
To it from after the pilot.
Okay. Well, obviously we'll have to watch, but yeah. I'm so looking forward to Supergirl. It's going to be so fun.
Yes, sirree. So, I think we'll get into the comments and then we'll end it.
Okay.
I already covered the part about school, which Brad Lincoln brought up, which he was saying it seems like a lazy way to teach. I know that it's also because like the teacher's very passionate about media, and some of the stuff is... It's not that it's boring, it's just I don't get into the whole documentary style, and like I said before, it has to be that kind of quick, wham bam, get to the point. I don't like drawn out stuff. It's just personal taste. My attention span is so low, like I can't. It used to be a lot higher, but I since all of the social media stuff has really kicked in, I really don't have much of an attention span, so I can't read a textbook. It puts me to sleep.
Yeah.
I cannot watch Generation 1 Transformers. It puts me to sleep.
Oh, come on now.
I'm not trying to fuel that fire. I'm dead serious. It puts me to sleep.
Come on now. There are okay. I can see if you're gonna marathon
Beast Wars almost puts me to sleep at this point, but I think it's because and it's not because I don't like it. It's because I remember it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think my brain is about to explode here. Okay, G1 I can understand. Okay, but also I need to point out that, come on, you can't say every single episode of G1 puts you to sleep. There are certain episodes that get you in the moment. Now, Beast Wars, I can't believe you're saying that...
Depends on the episode, though.
Well, not everybody can watch The Low Road and stay awake like me. But I'm just saying, like...
That one really puts me to sleep.
I'm just saying, like, the whole, agenda or... the agenda.
But it could be also information overload.
Yeah,
because I've been reading about that too. When I am able to, that when you have information overload, in your head, it kind of throws it to where your brain shuts off.
Yeah.
And I have that problem sometimes.
Well, that's kind of like with me with Transformers over the last few years. Like after Prime ended, I got into the comics and stuff. But even like the 2 main ongoings, I just kind of dropped for a while. I need to explore other interests at this point, and I'll come back to Transformers eventually. But like I said on All Things Transformers episode 52 this week. I did watch the end of Rid Season 1 and all that stuff, but I don't know. Transformers, to me, isn't as big a part of my geek life as it used to be. I still love the stuff that I love about the franchise, but it doesn't consume every aspect of my life.
It doesn't resonate with you the same way it used to.
It resonates.
Just not the same. Like the all-encompassing.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Like and I'm sure and I think it could be just because like I know everything that happens in the stuff for some of it. Like not saying that with documentaries, but like just some of those shows like that, I know all the stuff that's going to happen. So
I wanted to say this earlier.
It's one of those moments where my mind, my photographic memory on those shows, I can't forget it. Yeah. So like I'm sure when I watch it again with my son, when he's old enough to actually like partake in it and not have it freak him out, he's to that age where his attention span, or not his attention span, his imagination gets the better of him. I'm scared. So I'm sure I'll get more out of it again when I get to watch it with him and sit there and explain everything to him.
Right.
But yeah, like as far as the context of saying that it's boring in my sense, and again, I throw that term around, heavily, but it's because, like I said, it's some of the choices and stuff, and it's not that I don't try and pay attention. I do try and pay attention. I can sit through it for about a half hour and about 40 minutes, and then once it keeps going, then I have a hard time paying attention, then I tune out.
These documentaries that you're watching in class. Well,
we just watched a Stanley Kubrick one,
and
I understand that the guy is like revolutionary and like how and how he shot films. He shot 10 films.
Yeah.
One of which I've actually watched.
Okay. So
being The Shining. The rest of them I have no interest in ever seeing.
I will suggest one that I don't know if it'll interest you, but I will suggest at least one so you can get a slightly different aspect to his filmmaking style. Full Metal Jacket. I
have heard good things about that one, and I know that it came out later than what was intended.
It was 87.
Yeah, it missed the boat. It should have come out like 6 years earlier, but because he takes forever to make movies, that was why. But that is the one that I probably will check out. The rest of them I have no interest in, and we had to watch like segments of like Eyes Wide Shut and stupid, and then Clockwork Orange, which I didn't realize that was Malcolm McDowell.
A Clockwork Orange is supposed to, I have never seen that movie.
It's based off a book.
But I mean, I've never seen that movie. I've never read that book, but it's supposed to be really, really good.
I've seen enough of it in the documentary. I'd care not to watch it.
Right. When it comes to documentaries for me, the subject matter has to appeal to me. And I know you're doing this for class, you're doing this for college credit and all that stuff, and I get that, but just in general, watching documentaries for me, like I watched the downloaded documentary, the thing about Napster. I've seen the documentaries on Steve Jobs. I've seen.
Now, see the tech ones like that, like the Steve Jobs one. Like I've watched every movie that has to, other than the recent Steve Jobs movie, but I've watched every movie where they've done something about Steve Jobs or the creation of Apple and like the rivalry between Microsoft and Apple.
Right.
Like the Pirates of Silicon Valley, the movie Jobs that had Kutcher in it, who actually played a pretty convincingly good Steve Jobs.
He played a better Steve Jobs than I thought he was going to, but yeah.
It's better than that new one that came out.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
As far as like the portrayals, because a lot of it's just fiction anyway. I haven't seen it, so I can't legitimately grade the movie. I am going to see it. It's just I'm waiting.
Well, what I'm saying is with the documentaries for me is,
and I liked the documentary I Know That Voice.
Yeah.
But like things like that interest me. Like I don't particularly like on stylistic choices on filmmaking. I don't care about that, but that's more so because I watch all these films and I watch what interests me, and there's certain movies that grab me, and then there's a lot of these movies, like the ones that we're going over, although they are very prolific in what they know, I don't intend on following in that footstep when I do movies. So, like, I care to know enough about it, but, like, I don't want to have it, like, I don't want an autobiography of the person.
Right. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I like watching the autobiographies of various people. I just watched the PBS special on Robin Williams that they did right before he died. I like seeing like stuff like Inside the Actor's Studio and stuff like, I like watching that kind of stuff. But like I said, documentaries to me, the subject matter has to matter to me. generally I just kind of shy away. Like the Turtles Turtle Power, the unauthorized, whatever, most definitive history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja, like that was awesome. Those guys are doing another one coming up, doing the definitive, Power of Grayskull, the definitive history of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So I'm going to want to see that kind of thing. But yeah, documentaries about certain directors and filmmakers and stuff like that probably wouldn't interest me that much, I don't think. But overall, it just, like I said, it really depends on the subject matter.
Yeah.
What other comments we got?
The other one was about the it doesn't matter. It's about your plays.
Yeah. Why they don't release on DVD and stuff.
Which I could see during the programming.
Yeah.
During when they're actually shooting it, but like after. Or after the thing's done and it's concluded.
Yeah.
I would I would be more, I don't know, I would be more inclined to see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like where they're not making any more money off of it being an actual like stage show.
Well, I mean, for me, if and this goes back to the one I'm wanting to see, if Jim Parsons and An Act of God was going to come here to Louisville, I'd go see it in a heartbeat. But it was only on Broadway, and now it's out in L.A. with Sean Hayes from Will and Grace. But what are you going to do,
Yeah. So, yeah, with that, I think that about rounds out the show.
I think so. I think this is our longest show in a long time.
Yeah, probably.
We've been on the call for almost over 2 hours now, folks.
Yep. And, we've had no other breaks in there, and that's fine. Conversation kind of flowed that way. So, like we said, it's Controversy R Us this week. So yeah, I think that went pretty well.
You can call the episode Funtroversy.
Funtroversy. No, I'm gonna leave that one. I was gonna talk about stuff with kids' brains and TV and video games and stuff like that, but I'll save that for next week.
Yeah, that'll work.
Maybe get my wife on that one.
Cool, that'll work. That'll be fun.
Maybe, we'll see. I still have to get her show programmed. So
she's. I'm just gonna say this, and I'm just gonna go with it, folks. She's gonna break her podcasting cherry at some point.
That would probably be funny, but I'm not sure how to take that.
It's more funny to hear your reaction than what I actually said.
So, after we've discussed the controversy, what would you like to pimp out this week?
Like I said, the pull bag's back and going strong. This week we had the Joe Reed and I did the review for Casey in April, issues 1-4 from IDW, which is the TMNT miniseries. We had that new episode, Myths of Etheria, our She-Ra show inside Powers of Grayskull series launched with episode 47. There will be a new Mayhem Mike's on the same day that Altered Geek airs. Sadly, Mike could not be with me, so I grabbed Ryan the Uneven Flo Merkley. Because I hadn't podcasted with Ryan in a long time, I forgot, and I am not sitting here making fun of the guy, but I forgot how long he talks sometimes. This is the longest Mayhem Mics we've had, because we had 2 different pay-per-views to review, plus getting Ryan's wrestling origin story in, as far as how he got into being a fan of wrestling. So I think when it's all said and done, that show might be 2 hours as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, so Mayhem Mike's, the Pull Bag, Showtime Synergy will be back. Next week on the Pull Bag, we've got the Back to the Future review for issue number 1 from IDW. Just go check out GeekCastRadio.com and see everything we've done.
And as for myself, not really sure what I've got going on next week. Be working on stuff with the site. I'm hoping to get my wife's podcast done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking about starting this, like, I don't know. It'll be a short segment on AGU, but it won't be separate recorded. It'll just be on the episode. But basically progress reports of my geek office, getting it squared away. Because, like, I started organizing my posters on the walls and my toys on the walls, and at some point just kind of stopped. And I don't know why I stopped. I just did. And now I have this big blotch in the middle of the wall, and then stuff I can't see barely on the other side of the room. So, like, I'm trying to move it directly in front of my desk, and then somehow I'm accumulating all kinds of crap on my desk that I can't seem to figure out where to put it, so I just keep stacking more. Mm-hmm. As retarded as that sounds. I'm a pack rat, so, like, when I get stuff, it just never moves from where I put it until I get fed up with how it looks. I still have my stuff from BotCon and, like, some of my posters and stuff sitting on top of my, like, canopy thing that goes over my monitors. Jeez. Because I haven't gotten frames for them yet to hang them in the wall. So they're still sitting there. I'd even got my Transformers Devastation poster when they announced it at BotCon. So, and I was like, oh yeah, I got that. And I found it the other day, and I was like, I should hang that on the wall. And I was like, I need a frame. And then I was like, I don't have a frame. So, just one thing after another.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. So, you can get a hold of me on the Twitters at SCP21, and you can get a hold of you
at TFG and Mike.
So, until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
Now everybody take a hammer and a baseball bat and start wailing on your consoles just like that. Don't stop until you're sure that they're good and smashed. Now throw what is left of them in the trash. Dump gas on the trash and set it ablaze so you can see the flames up in outer space as we march to bit rates of a faster pace. The superior PC master race. Our cause is just, our souls are pure. Society's diseased and we're the cure. It's a PC party with no refreshment. So we've been watching clean up these console peasants. We'll mold the world into one singular vision to join